Guys, welcome back to another round. We got My Bourbon Journey, Adventures in Whiskey, Blind Whiskey Reviews, and half of the Scotch Test Dummies here with us tonight. And, of course, your host, Bourbon Blinds. Everyone's got their names on there. So, anyway, if you guys want to go around, let everyone know what you're drinking and where they can find you. Start with you, Scott. Journey, Scott.
Hey, glad to be doing this. I know I missed the last one, but thanks for having me back on. So I've been looking forward to this. So yeah, Scott with My Bourbon Journey on obviously YouTube, Instagram, things like that. So kind of do a lot of just general posting videos on, of course, whiskey, YouTube, and some Instagram stuff. So thanks.
Awesome. Bobby?
Hey guys, I'm Bobby from Adventures in Whiskey. You can find me, just search through all the social networks, Adventures in Whiskey, except for Twitter. It's Bobby Childs because I'm too lazy to change it. What am I drinking? In celebration of Adventures in Whiskey Russell's 65th anniversary of Wild Turkey, I got to go with 101.
Nice. Scott, what were you drinking?
I'm actually drinking a little bit of the new mic drop, however this camera works.
How is it?
I like it for 4 years old. I mean, again, I don't consider a 4-year whiskey young, but I mean, some people may. I don't. I think it's pretty solid. So
nice. John, what about you?
Hey everybody, John from Blind Whiskey Reviews. You can catch me on Instagram and Twitter at blind_reviews. And also, if you haven't already checked it out, I just started Mission Bottle Kill on Instagram too, where I'm posting a bunch of pictures from people that are just killing great bottles of whiskey out there. So that's been a ton of fun. I've had it open for about a month. We've already got over 500 followers there, so I've been having a lot of fun doing that. So if you guys aren't already following me, follow Mission Bottle Kill on Instagram. If you want me to post your empty bottle pick, just tag me in your post. I also am trying to celebrate a little bit of the Jimmy Russell 65th anniversary. So I grabbed an old bottling of Rare Breed here. Thought that would be appropriate. So we're having a few sips of that.
And Dummy Scott.
Scott, one half of the Scotch Test Dummies on YouTube, on Instagram, The Real Scotch Test Dummies, and on Twitter, Scotch Test Dummies. I've got a Leinenkugel Oktoberfest right down the street from Bourbon Scott.
Mm-hmm.
And I do have a bottle. I haven't opened it yet. I just got New Riff Single Barrel I might crack into.
Nice.
So, since we're talking about what we're drinking and everything, just kind of hop right into it. The first thing on the list for tonight is craft distilleries and ones that you think are going to make it if and inevitably when the bourbon boom busts, and also just generally distilleries you think that people should keep an eye on.
That's a good question. There's a lot of new distilleries coming up, and we've had a lot of conversation about the fact that a lot of them aren't good yet. You know, they're putting out a lot of young whiskey that isn't good, but you can definitely see some shining light in a few of them. And Scott just held up one of them, and I actually grabbed this bottle knowing we were going to talk about this. New Riff is a great one. That's kind of the one I wanted to pick to talk about, but fantastic whiskey. Just made it to California in the last month. So happy to have them here finally. But it's great whiskey for a 4-year-old, and I can only imagine what they're going to be when it gets a little bit older. So definitely keep your eyes on those guys.
My bottle's from Minneapolis, Minnesota. I've got a nephew that lives up in North Dakota, just across the border into Minnesota, and he travels around. He's always sending me pictures when he's out whiskey hunting, and he had found that up there. So I was like, they had the standard release. I think they had the rye and then the single barrel. So I was like, well, get me one of the single barrels because I know I've heard several of you guys talk about it, and it should be pretty decent.
Yeah,
it really got their whole line. I think
a solid product.
I'm going to be the odd man out. So how would you define craft distillery?
Not one of the major 9. How's that?
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Like anything that's not, Wild Turkey, Four Roses, Heaven Hill, like.
I mean, I guess I would say like regarding that. I mean, I think a lot of them are, a lot of it nowadays seems to be very, trial and error. Like they're somehow the like the children of the big guys, let them do a lot of the like kind of the grunt work, you know, and then obviously if they get so big, some of the big guys just come in and buy them out, and you know, or whatever it may be. But I don't know. I mean, I just don't see this like bust or this thing like going bad. I mean, it just, things seem to be going so well for the most part. I mean, you know, and again, I know John said, you know, there's a lot of bad ones, and there are some bad ones, that's for sure. And they're having to produce this stuff a little bit earlier than they would like to because of, I think, 100% financial reasons, or they wouldn't pull it when they do. But again, a lot of these guys are doing some really fantastic things. And I guess here's one like kind of quick company that I've just had recently, and this is out of Indiana, called Spirits of French Lick. And it's called Spirits of French Lick in Indiana. And they're doing some like really, really cool things. Jesus, the master distiller's name, I just kind of forgot, but he's very much along the lines of like what the guys at Wilderness Trail did, where there's that real science background. They do all these different things. They've got the pot still distillation and all that. And it's just, you can taste kind of the quality and the difference of things that they're doing. So just a little, that's just one company that kind of popped in my mind for one of the craft guys anyway. So keep an eye out for.
Yeah, Wilderness Trail is doing some fantastic things. New Riff is doing some fantastic things, like you guys said. A lot of good stuff. A lot of mediocre stuff, but a lot of good stuff. A lot of comment.
You know, I think the secondary market at some point is going to take a hit. I think you're going to see a lot of the bottles probably start to build up. People are going to quit buying it, I think, at some point. When you look at the Van Winkles will probably always be high, but when you look at some of the other allocated bottles that come out, I think you'll just start to see people are going to quit paying the money for them once they realize there's a lot of other good whiskey out there. So a lot of people sitting on some of the allocated bottles will probably take a little bit of a price hit, but who knows?
Well, that and they can't buy them anymore because the secondary market's pretty much dried up almost. So
I don't know, always purging whatever secondary whiskey groups are out there. But, you know, where there's a will, there's a way.
I think we talked about this before too, but I think there's going to come a point, just like there did with craft beer, where, you know, there's so many up and little small distilleries open up that at some point a lot of those end up going bust, just because they can't keep up with the people that are doing higher production levels and higher quality production. Because there's a vast difference in the quality of production of some of these different distilleries out there. So I think some of these are going to go belly up. I mean, there's something to be said for supporting your local distilleries, but there's also something to be said for, you know, being able to spread your distribution nationwide and be able to really create a big name for yourself. And a lot of these guys aren't going to be able to do that. So, especially with a lot of the production ramping up that a lot of the big distilleries have done, there's going to be an abundance of whiskey here in 5 years. You know, there's going to be a ton of whiskey on the market. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, some of these craft distilleries, I'm really surprised. I know you guys have seen like Bardstown Bourbon Company. They're fairly new to the market, but they have 120,000 barrel storage capacity. And to put that into perspective, New Riff has about 8,000 barrels storage capacity.
Yeah, when we were there not long ago, they're actually producing more whiskey now than Wild Turkey was, according to what they said.
Wow.
Yeah, I saw something like 7,000 or 7 million proof gallons, something like that.
Like you were saying, Kyle. I mean, they've just exploded. I mean, they've gone from being, I guess, what we would consider small to now just being, again, they're one of the big players now. So,
I mean, that was practically overnight. You know what I mean? In urban terms, like that's.
Yeah.
I will say one of them that I would definitely keep an eye on. I finally got a couple of them. Is the Wilderness Trail stuff. They're putting them into the barrels at a low proof. They're doing the sweet mash instead of the sour mash, and from what I understand, they're already been in the game as far as like helping other distilleries set up everything, find different yeast strains, all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, they already know everything that they were doing. You know what I mean? They just decided to do it themselves. And I got to say, that is one I would definitely keep an eye on. Obviously, New Riff.
But look at the Barrelhead right behind you, Peerless. They're doing some nice things.
Yeah,
they really are.
I think Peerless in like 2 or 3 more years is going to be a monster in terms of the quality of the product that they're putting out. I mean, it's okay now; it just still tastes young. But once they shake that young taste, they're going to be a monster for sure.
I don't know. Like, when you say young, like it's one of the few for me that is younger that just does that. I don't get that. You can taste the quality of that. Like, for me, the perception of like, because people say it's 2 or 3 years old, that it tastes young. I don't know. I just think a lot of people get really fooled by these numbers and will maybe convince themselves of, because it's 2 or 3 years old, that it tastes young. And for me, and I taste a lot of craft stuff, and I know right away when it's young, like you get that grassy, nasty type of note, and I don't get it all the time. But in Peerless, for me, is one of those things that's still young, but it just does not taste like 2 or 3 years or 4 years that it is now.
And it comes.
I did a blind review of their 3-year-old, and I called it young. So I mean, it definitely tastes young to me. It's not extraordinarily young, and not young to the point where it's overwhelming the whiskey, but it's definitely there for me. And maybe their bottlings aren't consistent either. Maybe that you get some more youthful character in some batches than others. So maybe mine has more of that, but you definitely taste it, and it's not off-putting. Like, there's whiskeys that have that's all you can taste.
Yeah.
But their whiskey's not that, which is why I know there's a lot of other good qualities there. And once those qualities can shine through, it's going to be a monster. And
I agree.
Single barrel bottlings of their stuff that were fantastic that don't taste young at all. So
and I agree to that point. I mean, I think when you are at 2 or 3 years, it does have a different flavor. When you start getting 4, 5, 6, those profiles do change. There's no doubt about that.
Look, Rarebird on Rarebird 101 just said, let's face it, the craft distilleries may do well with enthusiasts, but everyday drinkers pay the bills. What do you think about that?
I mean, I would say he's definitely not wrong. You know what I mean? Sadly to say, a large portion of that is things like Fireball, but it's your Knob Creek, it's your Wild Turkey, it's your Woodford.
I mean, look, at the end of the day, distribution and brand recognition are the 2 big factors that are going to make or break your business when it comes to like being a monster or not, So if you can afford a huge PR team to put your product in front of people and let people try it and want to buy it, and you have the distribution to get to all those people, then you're going to be successful most likely, as long as you've got a good product.
But I think that's the number one key, is just to have a good product. You know what I mean? If the product's not there, I don't care how good your marketing is.
I think what Bobby may be talking about, though, there's a barrier to people wanting to try your product when they know that Jim Beam or Wild Turkey or Heaven Hill products are amazing. Why are you going to venture out and try something new? So you got to give people a reason to try something new.
Well, I spent $25 a bottle for a bottle of craft whiskey that may suck, and I can go spend $25 for a great bottle of a tried and true whiskey.
Yeah.
Well, I think that'll be some that'll weed themselves out, or the craft distilleries that aren't putting out good product. It won't take long for people to realize, hey, there's a lot of other good whiskeys out there. You have to start with good grains, you have to make good whiskey, and you have to have good wood to put it in. Any one of those, if you use bad grains and bad wood, you're not going to get good whiskey. So, and you got to give it time to age. Don't push it out too early.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think that the price is the real problem with craft. It's just like the price is inhibitive. They're usually 50% to 100% more than your standard large distillery release of similar proof or quality or age or whatever the case may be. So it's really tough to say, man, I want to spend double just to support a local or a small distillery.
Yeah, it is a very. I mean, I think that's a great point. There's so many of these, bottom or mid shelf whiskeys that you can get for, let's just say, $25 that, frankly, 90% of the time probably tastes better than the $80 or $100 craft whiskeys. You know, it's just the way it is.
But that's where, you know, like, again, coming back to things like Wilderness Trail, New Riff, Michter's, I mean, they're all in that, you know, $40 to $50 price range where, you know, I would say people are a lot more willing to take the chance on it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
They see good reviews about it and they're like, okay, it's, you know, $45. I'll go pick one up. But you see some good reviews and it's, you know, $80 to $100 and it's like, well, you know, I just don't know if I want to take the gamble on it.
Yeah.
And that's what I think about
Keep your whiskey under $40. There's a good chance people will be willing to try it. You know, but once you start getting above there, it gets a little bit more challenging, I think. So
the important thing about reviews, and especially whiskey reviews, whiskey's so subjective. So for me, it's always best to find someone whose palate aligns with yours. So when they're trying something a little bit more expensive, you have an idea of whether or not you'll like it compared to, you know, just reading a spread of reviews on people you have no idea what they like, what they don't like.
Right. Yeah, I mean, for me, it's almost like if I see almost every single review about it is positive, I'm a lot more willing to take that chance. But if you just see even, you know, 2 or 3 negative reviews about it, it kind of puts that in the back of your brain that, you know, okay, well, is it really worth it? Is it, you know? But on the other hand, also, again, just personal experience, if it's under about $40, I'm a little more hesitant with it being a craft distillery because I'm wondering, you know, like, is there a reason that it's so cheap?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know your bills to pay. They're distilleries.
They're really stuck. Like, so like it's either going to be too expensive or too crappy, you know? So it's like, I'm not going to buy either one. It's too expensive. Or it's not priced high enough. So yeah,
whiskey's one of those strange things where price does not determine quality at all.
Not even a little bit.
At least in bourbon for sure. Price and quality just do not align.
No.
So
no, you got that right. There you go. What is that, $11?
Right? Like,
yeah.
Right. So, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you don't like it?
Oh, no, I like it. You don't like it?
Bobby doesn't like it. Bobby didn't like it.
Which one? What was it?
The JW Dan.
Evan Williams Bottled and Bond.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right, so we can agree on that then.
Those are great Christmas gifts.
Yeah, there you go. A good, perfect one right there. Yep.
And of course, the old standby.
Yeah.
Yep.
The problem with Wild Turkey 101 rye, at least out here, is it's hard to get and it's kind of expensive.
It's not very easy to get. Only certain stores carry it out here, and it always comes in a liter. But I think it's $25 or $30.
See, for me, it's 40. I mean, that's just a little steep for what it is. For a couple more bucks, I can get a 6-year-old or I can get a single barrel. So why?
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So with craft distillers and everything, roll into kind of the next topic, blending. Some people see that as, you know, that's just crap so they can make it taste better or whatever. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I think right off the bat that the vast majority of whiskeys are blended. I mean, they may be from the same distillery or whatever, but they're still, you know what I mean? They're still a blended product. But what do you guys think?
Well, you are true, and a lot of people don't think about that. Take Balvenie 12-year Doublewood. I mean, it's a blend. They've taken a lot of their casks, different ages, different cask types, and blended them together to a flavor profile that they want to release it as, and they try to match it, you know, as best as they can. So go back, you know, years ago, with Scotch blended whiskeys were 99% of sales. And as blended whiskeys was growing and everybody was drinking them, they wanted to find out what single malts were. They wanted to know what, you know, Glenlivet was or what Cragganmore was, or, you know, any of the individual whiskeys used in the blends themselves. And that's what's led to all the individual distillery sales now, or the single malts. So look at your craft, or what I consider a craft distiller, you know, Compass Box and John Glazier. And what he does is really masterful. And his look at it, take on it is Glenlivet has their whiskey, and they're bound. If they want to release a single malt, they have to use their whiskey, and that's it. John Glazier could take that Glenlivet that he thinks is really good and combine it with another whiskey from Abelauer, just bringing one up, or Kleinlich, which he uses a lot, and make, what he views or sees is a better whiskey by blending at least two together. So your individual distilleries and your single malts can't do that. So
it's like cooking a gourmet meal. I mean, you might have the best ingredients in the world, but you put them together in just the right amount, and it's magic.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I mean, a lot of people talk about, like master distillers and this and that. And obviously there's the craft in that, but you get these people who are like, I guess let's just, whatever, master blenders or blenders in general. I mean, that's a lot of times where the magic happens. I mean, you take like Bobby and Scott just said, I mean, that's the magic right there of being able to take these different blends and make it even better than it is just coming straight out of the barrel on its own. I mean, that's a heck of a craft right there to be able to blend all that and make it fantastic. So,
and the thing is, if you go back, say, take Johnny Walker Black Label, probably has 40 or 50 different whiskeys in it. And that way they grab it from this distillery, this distillery, this distillery, this distillery, they blend it. If one of those batches is a little off or a little different, usually it's at such a small percentage, the other distilleries can mask it, or something. So it's easier for them to recreate a taste profile. So Douglas Lang is another one. I hate to just say Compass Box, but Douglas Lang is doing some good blends as well, in the Scotch world.
And here in the bourbon world, look at Joe Beatrice over at Barrel, and every batch is different, sourced from different states, different distilleries, and he's just putting together just mostly wonderful things.
I was gonna say, yeah, mostly, pretty much all of them are amazing.
I didn't try the first four, but I'm assuming they were fantastic.
So, I could be completely wrong on this or misremembering it. Isn't there rumor Henry McKenna is going to a batched?
That's the rumor.
I've heard that for a while now, it seems like.
I really hope they do, because I think that would be a lot better.
It'd make a more consistent product. I've complained about Henry McKenna enough. Hopefully they've listened.
I've honestly, I've seen a few of them at retail in the last several weeks, and I just pass on them because I'm not willing to take the risk.
But after that single barrel won whiskey of the year or whatever, do you really think they're going to go change it that soon?
That's a good call.
That's what I kind of thought as well. It just seems like one of those things like, where do you how do you win these awards and all of a sudden say, screw it, we're just going to blend the shit all together.
Though, I think most people, 99% of the people that would see that, and they've got Henry McKenna 10-year bottled in bond single barrel, and all you do is take off the single barrel off of there, and you got Henry McKenna 10-year bottled in bond. 99% of the people aren't going to notice that single barrel isn't on there anymore, and that it's something a little bit different.
So Rarebird had a High West is another one that does a lot of blending and stuff, and they do amazing things.
Yeah.
High West does great things. I like a lot of their whiskey, although now they're blending more of their own distillate into it. I think it's suffered a little bit. I think back a couple of years ago, it was some of their releases were a little bit better. Yeah, but still great stuff.
But it's going to be
like the double rye. Like the double rye is a budget rye pour for sub $30, and it's declined a little bit in the last year or so, but it's still a great whiskey.
I hope it's one of those things though that it just needs more time. So as it ages and gets better, hopefully it'll get back up to where it was before.
Right.
That'll be the real
it's time for a little live blend. We're gonna go Rare Breed. Rare Bird 101, this is for you. Rare Breed 116. All right.
And Ardbeg.
Rare Breed 112.
There you go.
And this is the Rare Breed R30B from 2013-ish. Blend.
Well, we all know the blender, so this is going to be totally shitty.
Yeah. And actually, I just shot a video doing a blind side by side of all three of these, which you might find interesting. It'll be coming out in the next week or two, so keep an eye out for that.
And just to join you, I just poured some 101 rye.
I've got
Boom.
new Baker's single barrel.
Oh,
Oh, interesting.
how
Cool.
was that?
It's good.
Bobby, the king of the free samples. This
King of
guy.
examples. More like the Joker. No, it still keeps that sort of barrel profile. I mean, the Baker's profile. But just like any single barrel, there are going to be a few nuances and a few differences between barrels. But
I gotta say, we recently did a blind at a liquor store of 8 different bottles, and one of them was Baker's. I've probably only bought one bottle of it in the last 5 years, and when I tried it there, I really enjoyed it.
it's like the until now, sort of like the underdog of the Jim Beam small batch collection.
Yeah.
Ask me how many of these I have stocked up right now.
The single barrel is going to take over for that.
Is that kind of the plan? Are they kind of transition out from that into more single barrel stuff?
From what I understand, they're getting rid of the small batch and going single barrel.
Well, they
It
are.
just seems strange too, though, on that making that move because there's been four whiskeys in the small batch collection or series for Jim Beam forever. Now they're not making. Now it's essentially they're going to disband that small batch collection, I would guess, because if you're making Baker's a single barrel, there went 25% of your collection.
Right. Well, I mean, they may be keeping it, but what I heard is the rumor is it's going to a single barrel.
You know what? I would imagine it's going away because, I mean, not that this is necessarily the indicator, but when Costco starts carrying a whiskey, sometimes that's a good indicator that they're trying to dump it. And my Costco has Baker's for $30, so I've been stocking up.
I would do 40 for my bottle.
Guys, we got a super chat from Chill Filtered, $2. Appreciate you. He said, "Did anyone find EHT Amaranth?" They have a sample.
I know someone who has a sample.
Bobby, you found some, or you got a sample?
I got a sample.
And
Oh,
I tried it at a distillery last year, and it was really, really good. The sample confirmed it. Like it's an interesting grain.
yeah. I was going to ask, like, what's the kind of profile of it? Like, what would you kind of compare it to, if that's even possible?
Watch this space for a review coming up later this week.
Okay, nice little teaser.
No, it's I don't want to give too much away. It's an interest. I mean, it still tastes like bourbon, but it's some interesting grain notes. I'll say that.
I guess now we're talking about Amaranth here, but this rare breed blend, fantastic. If anybody's got these 3 bottles of rare breed, I highly recommend a blend.
I think I have 3 bottles, not those 3 bottles, but I've got 3 bottles somewhere.
so, I was gonna kind of just glance over it a little bit. Rare Breed 101, but since we're on the topic of blending and everything else, he said they still label Knob Creek single barrels with small batch.
They do.
Not sure how that's possible, but
So
Unless they're
I heard
referring it to like a small batch of barrels that they're using to pick single barrels from. I don't know.
so what I've heard that they're doing is basically they will take 3 barrels, blend them all together, put them back into 3 barrels, and then bottle that barrel as a single barrel, but it's also a small batch because they blended 3 of them together.
I don't think a company like Jim Beam would do that.
it
That
just
sounds like too much work for a big distillery.
Yeah,
like Jim Beam.
it seems like, what's the point of that? I guess.
I mean, if you go pick a bottle of Knob Creek, I mean, you see your barrel being dumped, and well, I guess that doesn't really explain what you just said. But I don't think they'd be doing something like that.
I mean, it would keep the flavor profile.
No, it certainly would. I just think that's a lot of extra work for a distillery that big.
Yeah, and if it got found out, then everyone would shit on them.
But they didn't. They're labeling it as a small batch / single barrel. So I mean, it would make sense, kind of. I mean, I don't.
They even continued to label it as a small batch when they changed the label, so it's not like it was a hangover from like some previous label they didn't want to change. The brand new labeling in the last year still says small batch. So,
but I also have to believe a company like Jim Beam knows what a single barrel is, like the difference between a single barrel and a small batch.
I mean, that would be a great question to like hit up like some of their PR people and find out like how do you still label something a single barrel and a small batch all at the same time when they're two completely contradicting. Like,
it's simple. Those terms don't mean anything. There's no definition to either of them. So
wasn't an old Russell's Reserve single barrel called a single barrel small batch years ago?
That's a good point. Redbird's in the chat. He can.
Yeah, if Redbird is still watching, I think
he just commented not that long ago. He would know.
They did.
Didn't Fred Minnick say that a single barrel is the smallest batch? So,
yeah.
So they're not wrong.
They're not wrong.
I just always assumed to have a batch of anything you needed 2 or more.
But I will say, like,
if you're asking me, yes, you have to blend 2 different barrels of whiskey to call it a small batch. If I was the one making the definition, there'd be a lower limit, which would be 2, and there'd be an upper limit, which is like whatever you wanted to make it, 40.
Here would be the other thing: is there a possibility that the small batches that they're using that as their terminology for their category? I'm just like guessing at stuff now, like what it could be, like part of the small batch collection, or I don't know if could it be that
or to something Rarebird just said. I mean, is it just whoever designed it doesn't know shit about whiskey?
It could be too.
Or it could just be a marketing thing. People see the small batch on it and think that, that's more premium. Because isn't that kind of what their Knob Creek is known for? Is it's more of a small batch?
Well, okay, so I pulled mine out to look, and it's got in 3 or 4 different places. It says single barrel, and it says single barrel in big print on the side. Only in one place under Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey does it say small batch, and it's in smaller print. Yeah. But technically, a single barrel, if they get 170 bottles out of it, that's a small batch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where we get to the fact that there's no definition of batch or small batch. So, like, you make a batch of cookies and it makes 2 dozen cookies. Well, that was from one batch. So, I mean, I guess it's the same concept, with what Scott's saying right now.
Yeah, I guess it could very well be that.
It just seems confusing, and they they should make a definition for this stuff. I mean, why not? Why not define small batch? Why not?
I can tell you why, because they don't care about the requirements as it is already. So
yeah,
it's true.
Well, I think again, like we're all discussing this now. 90% of the other consumers out there have no goddamn idea what we're even talking about. So I mean,
they probably don't even care either.
Yeah, I mean, it's like we're pissing into the wind,
I mean, that's totally true, and it's just like why they still like. There's a single barrel section in the big liquor store that you go to. Why is there a single barrel section? I mean, if you ask me, single barrels aren't any better, and it's not like a premium whiskey just because it's a single barrel necessarily. So, it's just consumers just don't know.
Yeah.
But one thing I will say is the Knob Creek single barrels, they are pretty on point as far as flavor profiles go. I mean, you look at like Russell's Reserve or something like that. I mean, you could get some huge variations. And God forbid, Henry McKenna talk about huge variations, but that seems to be more good or bad. Where like Russell's Reserve, like there's sweet ones and there's earthy ones and there's floral ones, and I mean, if they wanted to make them all, more similar, they could easily just blend 3 or 4 barrels together and rebarrel that and sell it as a single barrel.
Funny enough, I was told that Booker's will never be a single barrel because they didn't want the massive variation out there. They wanted to keep it as product as possible.
Aaron just woohooed in the background.
Nice.
Woo!
That made my day.
But I'm glad they did that though, because I love Booker's and I like that each batch is a little bit different, but they're all on that same kind of.
It all still tastes like Booker's, right? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, no, I appreciate that.
I guess here's a little bit of a kind of a changing the subject. So I was listening to the Bourbon Pursuit podcast the other day, and something I really didn't think a lot about until they started kind of diving into it, but was this whole thing with all the tariffs that are going on. And I didn't realize, like, thinking about it now, like how much of an impact that has on the amount of whiskey that's here that's now not potentially being exported out of the country. And what does that do for extra aged whiskey for us here if they can't ship the stuff out? Does that now allow us to, at some point, maybe have the ability to have older whiskey at maybe a little bit of a lesser price because there's so much of it? Maybe. I mean, again, I'm thinking like out a ways. If it stood to the point where, like, let's just say for them to have a bottle, I'm just going to make up a number, is normally $50, but with the tariff now being 2 or 3 times, and now it's 150, how much of that are they going to really want or have the ability to even get? So,
I think it really depends. If it's something like Jack Daniels in the States, you can go to any liquor store, any bar, and find Jack Daniels, no problem. So for them, it's probably going to hurt them, but for stuff that, say something like this, if they were exporting, a decent amount of it, that's not stuff that sits on the shelf here. So if they're selling more here, then that would be more supply here. So I really think it kind of depends on the availability of, what's here.
Yeah, I mean, I think unless you're like one of the big guys here, I think that the tariff probably doesn't affect you as much because you can afford the hit. But if you're like small or medium size, there's no way you can afford for them to not take your stuff. I mean, it would be a killer for a lot of these companies that have to rely on maybe 50% or more export in order to continue business. So
what do you guys think?
I've been too interested in this new Riff single barrel that I finally dove into, which is delicious.
Welcome back.
I can't believe this is only 4 years old.
No,
it definitely doesn't taste like 4 years old. That new Riff really, really packs a punch of good flavor, and it does not have any young character at all.
Nice bourbon characteristics. There's some rye in there with it. A little bit of char, cherries, oak.
Yeah, there's a lot of like fruitiness to it, but it just doesn't have that young grassy note to it. It doesn't have a lot of older like oaky characters to it. Like you don't get the vanillas or like the deeper characters with it. But you get a lot of lighter fruits, a lot of like red fruits, and it's good.
Yeah.
But I mean, you talk to a lot of master distillers. A lot of them say the really prime spot is that 6 to 8 years or 8 to 10 years. I mean, it's not, 15, 20 year stuff.
So
that's super subjective.
Spirit and barrel. You don't want too much spirit. You don't want too much barrel. You want that nice sweet spot.
Yeah.
And because it's so subjective, it's different for everyone. For me, generally, it's like the 10-year mark. I love whiskeys around that age.
I have a Joseph Magnus. It's an MGP single barrel. It's 13 years, and it's a total oak bomb.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you're not into oak, it's, it'll be totally overpowering. And that's at 13 years. I mean, that's, but I've noticed a lot of MGP stuff. I really enjoy it in like the 8 to 10 year range. I really do. People go crazy over like the 11 and 12 year stuff, but I really like the 8 to 10 year personally.
Even some of their really old American whiskeys are fantastic too. They make some great whiskey out there.
Yeah, for sure. So I have a question for you guys, and it's a topic that's totally selfish for me.
Bleach, a lot of bleach, gloves, a lot of plastic wrap.
So it's funny, the plastic wrap. Aaron and I went to a bottle share over in Chattanooga. It was the first time we had been over there. And I told her, I was like, look, if we walk in here and there's plastic sheeting everywhere, just run. No, so I may or may not be building a new bar. If you guys could have your own home bar, your dream bar, obviously within reason, what would you include in it?
As far as whiskey?
As far as just like the overall design of it, I mean, would it be shelf space? Would it be a, like a wet bar, like make sure you have a sink and stuff? Like what would you make sure to have in there?
I like classic wood look, and I think I would even go. I do have a lot of wood, a lot of storage, but I think even the bar top itself, I would go with wood. I know a lot of people go with granite to match, the house and whatnot, but I like old wood, classic style, dark wood, cabinets, and then the bar top itself. Put a high gloss on it and polish the shit out of it.
I do like
for most of us too. I think storage space is pretty key too. Like you just got to have room to display all those bottles, And around me, you need a way to keep them from falling off the shelves when there's an earthquake. So I need protection.
Plus, a couple of nice leather chairs and a nice humidor to enjoy while you're sipping on whatever. However many 100 whiskeys you have on your.
That'd be
like 20.
It's like
I did tell Kyle the other night. I said, if you're planning on building it, if you think you need room for 500 bottles, make it for 800.
Yeah,
make it bigger than you think you need.
That's true. I've seen Kyle's whiskey collection and I've seen Bobby's. They both need more room. So
I just got new shelving in, similar to Scott's.
Well, that's why when I did mine, I thought like, oh, I'll build this thing on this size wall and I'll get some stuff up, and you think that's going to make like a dent. And then you're like, I put that up and I've still got like all the cabinets full of shit. It's like, there's nowhere else to even put stuff. But like Scott said, if you think 500 is enough, double it or whatever, you'll utilize all that space. Trust me. So have some storage space.
Yeah. I mean, some people laugh, but people like, in like Bourboner or whatever Facebook groups and stuff, they're like, show us your home bar, or show us your whiskey cabinet or whatever. And I'll just take a picture. And it's like Scott's like, it's just a Costco shelf of stuff. Like it's not fancy, but it'll hold a lot of shit.
Yeah, and I'm expanded mine. I've been working on it over the weekend. I didn't tear anything out yet, but I got 45 more inches of shelving going that way. It'll be the third edition. Yeah, it'll give me about maybe 200 more, 300 more bottles of storage.
Oh, geez.
I remember when you built that one section.
Yeah.
You thought it was going to be enough.
So I figured out at 8 inches deep, I can fit 2 bottles on a shelf deep wise. And I really don't want to go 3 just because stuff starts to get cluttered and doesn't look good and whatever else. Yeah. But you can fit about 6 bottles in one board foot. So for every foot, you plan on about 6 bottles of shelf space. But yeah, I was trying to do the math. I was like, all right, so going all the way around the room, you have, how many feet of shelf? And it's like, I have too many bottles.
I just get a bigger house.
Do what?
Get a bigger house.
Yes.
I think you better go. I think on your back wall, you better go 3 deep. I'm just looking because I got mine are 3, and just raise them up in the back so you can see them. But once I get the new edition done, I'll be able to spread them out a little bit for a while. But
Scott, are your shelves tiered?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
it looks. I thought yours were. I thought yours were that a little bit. So
yeah.
Okay.
I just use 2x4s on the back, so I've got 2 2x4s on the back and then 1 2x4.
Okay.
But like with this 18-inch shelf, I could even go, I think, 1 more 2x4 on a lot of it to lift them up a little bit more.
I was trying to see if I can make your screen bigger, but it won't let me.
No, can't you go like him solo screen?
Oh yeah,
No.
you have to change up.
I thought I could, but I don't know. It won't let me select who to.
Oh,
Like, on this one, it won't let me select who to put where.
You can probably kick the rest of us off though.
we don't. Yeah, don't enlarge you. Jeez. All right.
Jeez. God, I got upset stomach all of a sudden.
I'm already a large mammal.
Guys, come on.
10 people just dropped out of the stream.
Look at it. They're just like, oh, geez, what the hell's going on?
Well, it wasn't their choice. The computer just broke. It was like, oh, God. So if you compared, say, 10 years ago in the bourbon industry versus today, what differences do you think you would see?
A lot. That's when the shit show started. So I think 10 years ago was the time where if you could now propel yourself 10 years to now, you would have bought, all the things that none of us can get now and hoard it all and kind of point and laugh at everybody else. Look at what you don't have, but who saw that coming,
Yeah, 10 years ago, you could find whatever you wanted at a reasonable price. I mean,
Yep. Well, sometimes, you see these things like on Instagram, people will post stuff and like a liquor store was, they'll have, William Lure Weller, Stag, stacked up in boxes.
Cases
just
of it.
there,
on sale so they could blow them out because they weren't moving them.
80
For
bucks.
$45 a piece.
$45, $50. It's like, you're like, holy Christ, I wish I could get my hands on those, but, And I don't know if there's anything, I guess, with that being said, I don't know if there's anything now that even exists like that will be 10 years from now. I don't know. Maybe we'll look back and say, 10 years, like, oh my God, I wish I could have got Henry McKenna for, $40. I doubt it, but,
Yeah, anticipating trends is impossible. I mean, obviously there's a lot of speculation on what could be the next big thing. Is it rum? Is it blended whiskeys? Is it, whatever the case may be. But it's really hard to anticipate trends. But I guess at this point, you got to try. Take a shot, pick one, and buy a bunch of it, and hope you're right.
Yeah. And if you're wrong, you got a lot of drinking to do.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
Worst case scenario, you got to drink it.
Yeah. Worst case scenario is you have like 10,000 Beanie Babies.
Well, I got a whole lot of bottles of Foursquare, so I'm hoping those pay off.
Oh, it's good. You got a lot of Foursquare. That's good stuff.
What about the Armagnac? Got to invest in the Armagnac.
I haven't tried a lot of it, but I've been able to try a couple cognacs and Armagnacs lately, and I've really been enjoying them. I mean, I think they're really actually quite good. And I wish they were a little higher proof. I mean, I hate the fact that a lot of them are 80 proof, but a lot of them are really fantastic tasting.
Well, that's what's nice with a lot of the Foursquare. Their stuff is that's high proof rum, a lot of it, and it's good, really good stuff.
John, I bought a Armagnac a few months ago, and it was cask strength. I mean, it was upper 40s or lower 50s in proof.
It's got, Armagnac's got a little bit of a different twang to it. You pick up that kind of grape. I think it's like a white grape that I always get or can kind of pick out with it. But it's pretty. I mean, it's so close to whiskey outside of that, and you can get 20 and 30-year-old Armagnacs for $100 or less.
Yeah.
I got one. It's I got a 25-year-old. It's at 80 proof though, and I think it was like $60 or something.
Yeah.
And then a 28-year-old that's at barrel proof. I haven't opened that one yet, but I'm excited to. Maybe we'll do that while you're here, John.
Yeah, and like Scott was saying, like they're not so far off of whiskey where it's like some big adventure into something completely different, but they're definitely different enough where it's interesting. It's not the same old bourbon characters you're used to getting, so it's fun to try that stuff, and I've been enjoying the ones I've been able to try. So I'm definitely excited to try some more.
Completely delicious.
Yeah.
So do you guys think there's any bottles that are like, say, the next Heaven Hill, where they're going to go away and then come back as a more premium version? John, put that shit down. Shut your mouth.
I wish I could. We said the same thing about the Heaven Hill bottled in bond. You know, we knew it was coming, and that's what they did, and they tripled the price. It is what it is. And I think the age of these super value bourbons is going to go away at some point. I mean, how do you continue to put out a $15 whiskey at like Evan Williams bottle and bond that's really good? I mean, is it a mind blower? No, but it's really solid, good whiskey, and it's $15 or less. How do you continue to put that out?
I think the only answer to that is to have a massive amount of quantity of it. If you've got so much of it that you can continuously pump out 6-year 100 proof whiskey, I completely get what John is saying. Like, how do you afford to do that? How do you sell that kind of quality product for whatever, 12 or 15 bucks, unless you have so much of it that there's other supplies of things that you can utilize for other product?
Well, let's get one thing right off the bat, that whiskey is not expensive to make. It's really not. I mean, look at, say, Old Ezra, okay? It's a 7-year barrel proof, and they're even buying it third party. That's not even stuff they made themselves, which is usually cheaper to do. So they bought that 7 years old barrel proof and still selling it for $35 and making a profit. I mean, that should tell you what kind of profit margin is in whiskey right there.
Yeah, it's not hard. It's not expensive to make whiskey by any stretch, and they're definitely making money even selling this for $15. I mean, that's happening. The problem for them, I think, is they're underselling themselves. You know, it's like, how do you offer a product like this for $15 and then offer another product that's maybe 10 or 20% better in quality, and then charge double or triple for it? It's very hard to do. It's kind of a hard business model because you're underselling yourself. So,
which is exactly what happened with Heaven Hill. Everyone said that wasn't a $15 bottle. It wasn't a $10 bottle. And they said, okay. And they took it off the market and brought it back as a $45 bottle.
Is that out? Has anybody seen it or tried it?
No.
If Bobby's shaking his head, it's definitely not out.
Bobby, have you got a sample yet?
No. Yeah. Fingers crossed.
Right.
I got to talk to you offline, Bobby. I talked to Buffalo Trace about this. We had a funny conversation about it. So
Bobby's the sleeper of the group here. He just keeps his mouth shut a lot. And that's, he's got a half gallon of stuff sitting back there that was sent to him.
he doesn't have a half gallon. I've seen Bobby's shelf.
Half a barrel. Here's your sample.
Bobby has a shelf that's not too far from him now that is all whiskey he's been sent. I've seen that.
Just out of frame.
It's good stuff, though.
Well, guys, we're right on that hour mark. Good seeing you guys again. Appreciate having you all on. Wish Jason could make it with Mash and Drum, but he was out of town. So,
Thanks for having us all back.
Absolutely.
What we haven't been doing is talking about, of course, what would be the next show and whose channel it's going to be on while we're live.
That would be Scott.
If we follow suit, it's you, Scott.
Which one? Yeah. Scott or Bourbon Scott?
Scotch Test Dummy Scott. You did our second show. So
Yep.
If we're following the order, it's you next month.
So we'd be looking at, we're a week off because we had a couple of conflicts last week. Are we going with the first Tuesday in October 1st or October 8th?
8th is probably going to be hard. Well, no, maybe not. I don't know. Whichever.
Yeah, right now, October 8th is good for me. So
we can have this conversation offline.
Yeah.
Anyway, next month it's going to be on Scotch Test Dummies channel, though, for sure.
Yeah.
Next month will definitely be on the Scotch Test Dummies channel.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
maybe Bart will show up.
October 1st or October 8th. Just wait for more information there. 9:00 Central Time, usual.
Same bat time, same bat channel.
That's right.
Channel. You got it.
Appreciate y'all coming on.
Yep. Thanks, Kyle, for having us again.
Oh, someone in the chat wanted to know, what is your favorite whiskey of the year so far? Real quick. John.
My favorite release that I've had this year?
Yeah.
That's tough. I mean, based on what I'm staring at right now, I really like Cornerstone.
All right.
I don't like the price, but I love the whiskey.
I'll go with. Okay, sorry.
Oh,
go ahead, Bobby.
No, go ahead, Scott.
I'll go with the Four Roses Small Batch Select. That really hit home with me.
I haven't even seen that one yet.
Bobby?
Michter's 10-year-old rye.
That's always solid. And Dummy Scott.
Man, I don't know. That's tough. White Walker.
Man, you must be struggling out there in Kansas. Arkansas, whatever it is.
No, Kansas.
Kansas, whatever.
I don't know. That's tough. That's tough.
That is a tough one. I'm like looking through reviews. I'm like, what did I taste this year?
Oh yeah, I know. I don't even know what all I've got. But
I liked Foregate. Foregate Batch 1 was good.
that was. We had a good
That was really good. That was really good.
Last couple of barrels were good.
You might see the George Dickel 13-year would be in my top 5 maybe of bourbons or America's whiskeys.
Ooh, Bart would disagree with you on that.
Yeah, I know he would.
So anyway, I want to appreciate y'all coming on. That made no sense, but you know what I was saying.
Yeah. You can think us if you want, but that's okay.
Appreciate you guys. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, everybody.
All right, and that's where I will. I'll download this and recut it. Real quick, I just poured some of the Wilderness Trail rye. Again, after it's been open for a couple weeks. Holy brown!
You're still live.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. Oh, I thought. Okay. Oh,
No.
I got you.
Yeah, I said I'll cut it out. But holy brown sugar, Batman. That Wilderness Trail rye is.
Yeah. So to let those that are watching, you're getting extra content now. So what Kyle is going to do, he'll go back and he's going to trim it to where we did the closing about the 56.5-minute mark. So, and then this, whatever is said or done now will be deleted. So you guys are getting extra content.
You guys are in exclusive land.
That's just
right.
Yeah, you got it.
This is behind the scenes.
That's right. No, for real, I really like that Wilderness Trail stuff. Erin's gonna grab her new riff.
So yeah, I figure as soon as we go off or we get what's not going to be or what's going to be deleted, here comes Erin.
No, I've been working all night and I'm trying to make money work and everything else. It is not happening.
Hey, Erin, that's what I'm drinking too.
I heard.
He even got a single barrel, his first one.
Yeah,
I hear it's amazing.
that's good stuff.
What's that,
What you got
Bobby?
there, Bobby?
That's the Armagnac I was telling you about.
Oh yeah.
It's got a nice color.
Good stuff.
Does yours taste like raisins?
Mine tastes like everything awesome in the world.
Like plums and raisins and dates and
There's some of that. A lot of baking spice as well. But it's
Yeah, I noticed that like cognacs and armagnacs are really spicy, and I didn't anticipate that.
this one is 46.7% ABV.
nice.
It's
Hey John, do you have this one?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I haven't opened it yet though. I actually haven't tried that one.
Yeah, it's good. I think I might have some. You should open it.
I might be doing that on a video very soon.
Yeah, I've got the 2005 and 7 that I'm going to do a little side by side of.
I've got the Criterion,
Yeah,
Foursquare,
that's a good one.
port cask finish,
Yep.
2005.
Yep, that's a really good one.
I thought I had one more, but I don't see it.
There's like a Prometheus or Premise or something like that. I think it's
There's
called.
a Dominus, Premise,
Premise.
Yeah, Premise or something. I think.
The new one out is like Empery.
all right. So as someone who's never tried Foursquare, what can I expect?
Rich, rummy.
Yeah, it's really it's like if you've ever had like the best like rum cake ever, it's like that. I mean, the sweet molasses. I mean, it's just like, I don't know. It's hard to describe other than that. I mean, it's such a rich. It's sweet, so you got to be prepared that it's going to be super sweet.
Sure.
But it's just so like it's just such a rich molasses flavor to it.
If you didn't know it was rum, though, you may not think it's rum. Like, it's very rich and it's very flavorful and it stays in that dark realm, but you might not necessarily call it out like, oh, this is definitely rum. Like, there's rums you're like, it tastes rummy, and Foursquare to me doesn't taste rummy, if that makes any sense.
Okay.
That's a good thing.
It might depend on the release. I think it's still, the ones that I have anyway are still pretty rummish. But
I would say if you know it's rum, it tastes like rum. But like sometimes if you drank it without knowing that you were drinking rum, you may not call it out as rum.
Yeah.
You may just not know what you're drinking, but like you wouldn't say it's bourbon, but you wouldn't know necessarily that it was rum.
And this one's a 118 proof too. So
I've noticed the higher proof rums really help cut through a lot of that sweetness that you get normally.
yeah, I mean, I would say with this one, it's a little bit of that, and you don't get, like, for me with like rum, you don't get, even though there's some alcohol there, you don't get a lot of burn with it. You know, there's some alcohol, but you don't get a lot of that burn like you do with some like higher proof whiskeys. So
No, you really don't.
yeah.
I should have bought out, half of Lincoln Road when you had, a dozen
That's where I got the RPI.
rums sitting on the shelf.
What did they do some picks or what?
Yeah, they had a whole bunch of them.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, the best rum comes from Barbados. I mean, I've had a few others. I mean, I'm no rum expert, but of the ones I've had, it seems like the stuff that comes right out of Barbados really seems to be some pretty quality stuff. So
David Schweibold called me out for saying rummish, as he should.
rummish.
David's a good guy. He's cool.
John doesn't like him though.
No, he called him out.
I don't like what? David?
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever interacted with David before.
That's not what you said offline.
Yeah.
You guys are such dicks. I mean that lovingly.
What do you guys
see what
for the drinking?
Better be lovingly. You might see me soon, Aaron.
Yeah, John's coming over next week.
Oh, hi. Okay.
Surprise!
So Aaron,
Aaron,
you're gonna have to find somewhere else to sleep because John and Kyle are snuggling.
Wouldn't be the first time.
No, I believe that. Out come the secrets.
Cheating on you, by the way.
Nice.
John said next when he comes over this week, he's going straight for the good shit. He said he was taking it nice last time.
David says he's gonna rubbish you, Kyle.
He came to my house and went straight for the good shit. What does that say?
This is true.
Yeah, I would like to take a trip to Bobby's place. That'd be nice. Get into some of that stash.
Yeah.
Right? That's what I'm saying.
I was mad because Bobby had to go to bed
Actually,
early.
any of you guys, anybody looking for a roommate? You guys all have good stuff.
I would invite you to sleep in a whiskey room, but I don't trust you.
I don't blame you. I don't trust myself.
I'm looking for a roommate, but it's expensive.
Okay, yeah. I'll have to ask my wife what my budget will be.
I had to go back and look. This new riff was $49 for the single barrel, and that's probably the best $49 bourbon I've had.
Jeez, yeah.
Yeah, that's how much mine was too.
When we went to Makers earlier this year, I saw the new riff at the airport, and I think it was going for airport prices are more expensive, but I think it was $60, $70.
Barrel.
I passed on it,
That's
and I tried it afterwards, and I would have easily spent
Barrel this
$60
year?
or $70 per bottle.
Yeah, especially if it was the single barrel.
Yeah,
Can they hear me?
it's good stuff.
I poured a little bit of. You guys were talking about the higher ABV rum, so this was the Criterion, and it's 56% ABV, and the nose definitely is. You wouldn't think rum with it, that's for sure.
What's that, Scott? Which one do you have there?
The Criterion.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
You know, the problem with drinking a really good Armagnac is now I want a cigar.
Yeah, so it really is. It's one of, for me, like Armagnac and Cognac. They pair really, really well with cigars.
So Richie asked Erin what her favorite drink or release of 2019 is.
Shiny Barrel, all the way.
Yes, I got one of those.
Yeah, we can't find ours. It disappeared. It ran away. So if someone could tell me where my bottle went, it would be really happy.
Oh, you should have said something. I could have got you one.
A bottle of what?
Shiny Barrel Bookers.
Oh,
I had one pour out of it. It was sitting on the counter one night. I poured it. I even took it to her room. It was coming to bed with me. That's how much I liked it. And I don't know where it went.
Kyle, is that the one you brought for the bottle share? Oh yeah, that was awesome. I appreciate you. Oh yeah, we're not live. Oh yeah, you can still hear me, right? Yeah.
So
I may have liked that one more than Backyard Barbecue.
yeah,
Really?
Good.
Backyard Barbecue's still up there.
I'm still drinking it.
I think of the last couple of years, I think Kathleen's batch is still my favorite.
I wasn't huge on that one.
I found that to be just rich and full bodied compared to some of the other ones.
now is that the
Right
one
here.
you
If
helped
want
her
a shiny
with?
barrel, you say the word.
I didn't help with that one.
Oh, which one was your batch?
Ask me later.
I don't think I have had a country ham. How do you do whiskey?
That's the newest one, 1903.
Mm-hmm.
There's some pictures.
I still have access to shiny barrel, so if you don't, say the word quickly.
You have what?
I have access to shiny barrel, so
Yes.
Yes. Done. Let me say how fast I can say that.
Which batch was that one?
1902.
oh, you.
That's now going to be included on checked luggage.
It sure will be. You get free
Thank
shipping.
you.
I helped out with Tommy's batch. That's the one I helped out with.
I haven't tasted that one.
Which one was that?
2017-01.
Okay. I don't think I've had that one.
You were just in Chicago. How do you do whiskey? Says there's a lot of shiny barrels in Chicago. That's
Sorry, I didn't see any.
Problem.
Not my fault.
All the bottles in the world.
That's because they don't have shiny bottle at the strip club.
Actually, Kyle likes to go get steaks at strip clubs.
Oh, really?
In Phoenix, no, there was a place my buddy went all the time, and he's like, dude, they got $5 steak lunches. I was like, all right, dude, why not? And I went. It was actually a legitimately good steak.
Yeah.
They went a couple times. They went more than once.
It was like New Riff. Like, it wasn't just good for the money. It was just good.
I remember this. This is bad. There was one that was
my steak.
there was one downtown by us. It's like a really bad one or whatever. On the sign for a while, it said "Stop in for your afternoon munch special."
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's bad. Really bad. Keep
You're gonna
it
have to
flat.
explain that one to John. That went over his head.
Yeah.
Wasn't listening, but hey.
Nice. The rummish is kicking his ass already.
That rummish has got me going. No, I was looking at my leg. You don't need to know this, but I was looking at my leg, and for some reason my leg is bleeding. So I was checking that out. But it's all good. I'll live.
So, Bobby, I take it you're going to New Orleans next year, right?
Yes.
I think we should all go. I think that should be a thing.
Yes, you guys should definitely go.
When is that again?
I will be there.
Is
I will be there bouncing around like a pinball and trashed, talking to everyone, and most people not having a clue how drunk I really was.
I highly recommend the VIP ticket. It gets you in all 3 days. It saves money. It's worth it.
But don't ask Aaron to say New Orleans. It'll annoy you.
Only you. Everyone down there says it that way, so you better just get used to it.
I don't think that's true.
So next year,
Yeah, $100.
it's March 11th through the 14th.
March 11th to the 14th.
Ooh, that's early. That's during kids' spring break. That might be
Sweet.
easier for your mom.
That sounds
So,
like March. That sounds
Bobby
like March.
lives in New Orleans. Bobby, how do you say New Orleans?
New Orleans.
New Orleans.
I'll take it.
Don't say New Orleans. Don't say New Orleans. Don't say
No, it's New Orleans.
Don't say Crescent City.
What? What was that again? New what?
New Orleans.
New Orleans.
That's what I said.
That's it. How I grew up saying
Sorry, I
it.
got something in my eye, guys. Hang
New
on.
Orleans. New Orleans. Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's the way I learned to say it.
Bobby's going to ask you what high school you went to here in a minute.
It will. The answer is my mom went to Dominican and my dad went to Jesuit.
Because apparently that's a thing down there. Is
It
what high school you went
totally
to.
is.
Let me ask you, what school did you go to? I'm not talking about college.
No,
Right.
they aren't. And they label people based on that. I'm like, what?
That is very true. The South, like when people ask you where you went to school, they don't mean college. They're asking you
Nope.
for high school.
That's because most people in the South don't go to college.
Jesus.
Was that out loud?
No, that's awful.
All right, fellas, I got to run.
Yeah, you probably got to put kids to bed.
You probably have to have dinner. It's like 4 o'clock there. So,
Right.
jeez. Always got to go.
See you, John.
I'll catch you guys next time.
See you, John. Hey, congrats on $2,000 too.
What was that?
Are you
Two-
staying here,
congrats
John?
on
Are you
2K.
in my house?
John's
Am I
coming
staying
down.
at your house? That's not the plan currently, but we'll see how that goes. Depends on how much of Kyle's good whiskey I drink.
Knowing you, all of it.
Bed.
All right, fellas, I'm out.
See you,
Later,
John.
John.
No, but Scott, if you guys could make it to New Orleans, I would highly recommend it.
Which was when or will be?
March 11th through the 14th, right?
Hmm.
Man, that's prime basketball season right there.
Basketball will be there next year.
Yeah. Wow. Whiskey in New Orleans or basketball.
Yeah.
You can catch the highlights.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have TVs down there.
Yep. And
Yeah,
less
that's
than
true.
you can even alert your phone to tell you who scored.
I
Yep.
know.
$300 for 3 amazing days.
Is that what it is? That's really a good price.
That's for all the seminars. That's for early VIP access where they pour Pappy and BTAC and all that kind of stuff for you.
Right.
The birthday bourbon, the Michter's 10-year. I mean, that's everything. I highly recommend it.
Somebody taking like a Partridge Family bus down, or what's the deal? Like, is there a meetup spot, or
No, they usually do it at the Hilton, and you can get a room there, so you don't even have to go anywhere. So
oh, that's even better.
we
You know.
did skip out on one of the seminars last year.
I slept, I
Um,
think.
Yeah, we're like,
I need a
we're
nap.
tired.
When
But
you start drinking at 8 o'clock in the morning and you don't start drinking until 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, that's those are long days.
yep.
It was
Right.
really bad.
Yeah,
It's
my
funny
dude-
because after the first night where there was the grand tasting, the second morning at 8 a.m. there wasn't nearly as many people there as there was the first day.
That's a shocker.
Beignets.
What's better than March is a better time of year here in New Orleans than July, mid-July, where
Oh,
It
God.
is nasty. The only reason why you go down there is to drink hurricanes, and you just keep drinking them so you can forget how hot it is.
then that sugar gets you.
I don't have a problem with it, but maybe other people might.
What about pina coladas? Are there any of those?
Find one somewhere.
If there's alcohol in it, you can find it here in New Orleans.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
All jacked up on sugar and hot as hell.
Those people down there, they're on a whole nother level of alcohol.
Well, the good thing though is like the fat from the cuisine, like counteracts the alcohol, so it all evens out in the end.
And the carbs.
There are not. No,
No, I mean you sweat the carbs out.
I'm every 4 hours. I go from oysters to crab to shrimp to crawfish and every single time you have a drink.
It's an all-day thing. They're on a whole nother level down there. We had a work trip down in Lafayette, west of New Orleans, and for our trade shows and stuff, we give away a bottle of whatever. And we walked in with a handle of Elijah Craig, and literally, like, everyone in the room just stopped and stared. And they're like, "Where are you going with that? What are you doing? What are you doing?" You walk in other places, you make it a couple people. They're like, "Oh, cool, whiskey or whatever."
My cousins swear they won't come to this town because, or even up here because of blue laws. And she says, "What do you mean there's blue laws up there? How does Aaron?"
I can't wrap my head around it. There's
Right.
absolutely I can't wrap my head around and blue laws. I don't. They're both on the same.
No, I never.
Blue,
heard.
okay, so I don't know what blue laws are.
It means you can't buy alcohol on certain days and at certain times.
Oh,
Like it's
And you
actually
don't
a thing.
We now can get wine in the grocery store, thank God, but you can't buy it on Sunday.
Where you guys are now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Really?
No.
It was a problem.
So-
It was a really big problem until we opened our own bar.
So wine is considered a liquor in the state of Tennessee, and there's no liquor sales on Sunday. And it was even so bad you had to go. Well, you still have to go to a liquor store to get liquor.
Oh, no shit. Someone said that New Orleans will be also on St. Patrick's Day weekend. Did you say the 11th through the – wait, hold on. When is it?
March 11th through the 14th.
That's not St. Patrick's Day weekend.
They might have I don't know. They might have the St. Patrick's Day parade that weekend.
I want to go see a parade. I've been promised to go to a parade. If my mother is – well, no, because we're not live anymore. My mother has promised me you're live, but you're cutting it.
You're
because I was 10
you're
years
so
old for Mardi Gras, and I have
you're
never
so, you're so cute, Aaron.
You got to do it.
I know.
Do it.
My mom and my dad marched in the parades. Assholes. Never
Well,
took-
we're in Wisconsin, so we're professional drinkers. So we're 24/7. Everything's open all the time. You can buy shit whenever you want.
I don't.
And it's
How is down there?
No,
Why do you have time to look at it?
it's not. But you can legally buy stuff basically up until either 11 or 11:30 every day.
Arizona's 2 a.m.
Oh, really?
2 a.m. and then they open back up, I think, at
It was so bad here. Like in a liquor store, you couldn't buy anything but liquor. So no mixers, no
wine
Salt,
cork,
no-
opener.
no wine bottle openers, nothing. If it wasn't liquor, they couldn't sell it.
Yeah, we've got it in both. Like you can buy everything. It doesn't matter if it's a liquor store or grocery store. It's all in the same thing. It's everywhere.
Jimmy
So-
Jam lives in a dry county. What county?
That sounds like a horrible place to live.
Yes,
Right?
it would be awful. It'd be like living in Lynchburg,
The county next to
Tennessee.
us is dry.
the place
So,
that I didn't know made.
ADHD fishing. So I'm just outside Milwaukee. He was asking where in Wisconsin. He's from the UP. So yeah, you're a little ways from me. I'm just outside Milwaukee.
That's the upper. He's from
Yeah,
the
that's way up there.
So
Yeah.
I found it funny when I was in Green Bay. There was where I was looking at the map, and pretty much all like the highways and everything's just stop.
2
there.
a.m.
They don't go through the rest of the state. Like
Oh, like for when you were in like northern part of Wisconsin or what?
yeah, when I was up in Green Bay, which
Yeah.
by the way, you always hear about Green Bay. That's a small town. I never realized it. Green Bay's
It's not.
like
It's-
Tullahoma.
It's not huge. It's not huge, but I guess small in comparison to, some other cities that you hear of. It's still pretty decent size, but again, I mean, most of our
100,000 people.
oh yeah, it's that at least.
Yeah, but I mean
Yeah.
to host an NFL team, it's by far it's got to be the smallest.
Yeah, it may be the smallest. It is it is very small when it comes to like NFL.
That's literally all that's there is a stadium and bars. I kid you not. That is and cheese.
Well, that's the rest of Wisconsin minus the stadium.
Stadium can go, but bars,
So.
geez,
Yeah.
good with that.
Well, seeing a lot of what. See you, Bobby.
Here, Bobby.
I'm about to go later, Bobby.
Talk to y'all later.
We'll see you, Bobby. Thanks for coming in.
Cheers.
See, a lot of like the culture here is all this like tailgating that we do. So I mean, it's every event, it's every sporting event. Everyone's, 3 or 4 hours before the game or whatever even starts. I mean, or more, could be even more. So
Is Jim just entering?
ADHD said he travels 3.5 hours to go to the city in Green Bay.
And good morning, Jim. How are you feeling?
That's on snowmobile.
I don't know if I'd still be surviving after the last live. we
Or
did.
a snow machine, I think they call them.
yeah, snow machines. Yeah.
Jim's in the house. I don't know if you guys saw on the last live stream, Jim chugged a bottle of Willet.
Oh my lord, no!
Like literally chugged one.
Like
A little,
literally
yeah.
chugged one.
I think I would still be feeling it.
A whole bottle.
It took him
Pretty
three swigs.
close. Yeah. It
I mean,
was
that's. I mean, you're.
pot still. You also need to. You need to
It was
actually.
Willet pot still.
It was Willet pot
Yeah,
still.
like. Yeah. All right. Well, you might want to just like drive to the hospital. You're gonna need to do some pumping at that point. That's a lot of booze.
Yeah. Oh, well, it was just the pot still, you know.
I mean, just the pot still. Jesus Christ, 750 milliliters all at one time. Oh my god.
It was impressive. And he kept drinking.
Well, Jim's lucky he's actually in the fucking chat right now. He didn't kill himself. Holy
Jim's
shit.
he's a fucking trooper, man. We talked to him for probably another hour after that.
And he kept drinking.
You would never know.
Kept drinking.
All right. Well, Jim, you're part of an exclusive club. I'll tell you that then. Holy shit.
Jim needs to be on YouTube reviewing some whiskeys.
Holy moly.
Yeah, he told me, he's like, man, you're a fucking rookie. You got to pump those numbers.
Yes. Richie Z asked Kyle, is the challenge coin a limited edition? Yes, that one is our plank coins. But
How do you whiskey? Send me an email if you're still waiting on it, and let me know. Give me your address and everything.
Yeah, we'll figure out what's going on with that.
Sorry. Anyway, have you guys tried Wilderness Trail?
What's that?
Have you guys tried Wilderness Trail?
No.
Yeah, I've only had the bourbon, and I really liked it. Thought it was good.
Good.
The rye is even better.
Yeah,
What's
I haven't
the
had the
one
rye
that
yet.
the finished one we had? That wasn't Wilderness, was it?
No, Chattanooga.
That was Chattanooga.
Didn't they just recently release their rye? Isn't that newer? Or
No.
what was it that they just released? Was it maybe a wheated, or was it their rye whiskey their rye bourbon that they just released not long ago?
I'm not sure.
Oh, okay. I thought it was one of those that was something that they just released maybe within the last few months or so, but I could be wrong.
ADHD, send me an email. No, so their rye they put into the barrel at 100 proof.
Yeah, I love that low entry proof.
That's insane.
How do you need to send you an email? I'm confused.
Scott, you said you have not?
No.
I'll see if I can bring some down to Texas with me. I'll drive. I'm driving, so I got plenty
Yeah, he's
of room.
leaving me.
I told you to come with me.
Come hop in with him. Gonna be a good time.
Yeah, we have kids and I have work.
Work's overrated. I have work too.
It
Sometimes
is.
you gotta let them go and hope you raised them right.
4 and 8, it'll be great. Actually, I probably could stock the fridge and Kaden would be like, Mom, I got this.
She would too.
She'd be making eggs and ham and, spaghetti and meatballs, and Oren would be fine. She'd make
Kind
sure
of like throwing shit against the wall and seeing what sticks. Kind of the analogy, I suppose.
Dram Bam, thank you, ma'am. I have not tried Heaven's Door 10 year.
if he hasn't had it, I haven't had it. I've given up.
Have you guys tried it?
No.
I haven't. We did 2 of the Heaven's Doors. It wasn't the 10-year, and I mean they were okay. They weren't bad whiskeys, but they weren't great.
So my thing with that is like, those are what 60, 80. I think the 10 years $100 or something like that.
I
can get 13-year Dickel for $35, which is where Heaven's Door is sourced from. So.
How much is
Man,
it?
I'll tell you what, Dickel must have a ton of juice. They must have a lot of old whiskey. Because like everybody who's starting a company or like has aged whiskey, it's just all Tennessee whiskey now, it seems like. All the stuff, you know.
Okay, I had to pull up to look to see. We had the Heaven's Door Tennessee bourbon, which was okay. Nothing special, I didn't think. And then their double barrel whiskey. I like the double barrel better than the Tennessee bourbon. But I mean, it was still. Maybe I might have gave it a 88.
Right. So not bad.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Richie's asking if you or the Scots have had a Boondocks bourbon, and I'd like to say we have.
No,
Yeah, that's the one
from what I've heard with that, they seem to push it more as a cocktail whiskey than anything. Like when people's like commercials or promotion start including cocktails like in their whiskey like promos, to me that's already starting to you know, kind of lean that direction where you're like, all right, well, maybe you don't want to sip on this shit, so you can just throw it in some Coke or ginger ale or something, you know? So
the one I have is barrel proof, and it's really good. I like it.
I think we've had it. Hey, Tarek is in here. I didn't know that. Sorry, we're reading.
yeah, Corey Matthew, I did a video, or I did a review of it.
Where's Corey?
Corey's right there.
Great. What's up, Corey?
Kyle's not tracking eyes. He must have had a little bit too much to drink because Kyle starts figuring out whether or not he's drunk by.
I have not tried the cab finished Bardstown, I don't think.
That sounds amazing.
It's like their stuff is so
rich.
Yeah, it's so rich. It's just they're doing such a great job with things there.
Who is this, Bardstown? We might need to get a bottle of that.
Yeah, it's
I love finish. I'm one of those people. I love finished bottles.
And I think from that one that was finished like for 19 months in cab barrels. So
yay!
Yeah.
Now I want the
That's
cab.
a long time.
It
Okay,
was a
so
long
you have
time.
bourbon.
But it wasn't as like over finished as you would think something that's aged 19 months would be. So it was just like they did a good job. They pulled it probably when it was really ready. It was really, really good.
So Elixir,
was it Cab Franc or Cabernet Sauvignon?
Cabernet Sauvignon. Yeah.
Which you could do. We had some Stranahans that was Cab Franc finished. That was some damn good whiskey.
Yeah.
we have the Jefferson's cab finish, and it's, I don't know. I'm not
the greatest.
Elixir said we had the Bardstown one, the cab finish one in the store. And when I tried it, I liked it. I really did. I don't know, it reminded me of like a port finished almost.
Here's one other thing that doesn't get talked about very often is we talk about, like Scott mentioned during the live part, was, the quality of products, but it's also very important, like what the whiskeys get finished in. I mean, if you're finishing it in a shitty barrel of, Cabernet versus a really high end one, you're going to have two completely different products. So just to classify something as finished in, I mean, that again is a very subjective term. I mean, if you kind of know what it's being finished in and the quality of the wine, like Bardstown, I mean, they got it. They tell you exactly who it's coming from and all of that. So
I really like, as most of you know, the red wines that are finished in bourbon barrels, and even the red wines, it's totally. I mean, I know that bourbon is not just bourbon, but there's a definite degree of what wines I like and in what order, and I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
Let's see what else. It's been one of those nights. I've been working since basically 9 o'clock in the morning. I got home at 9 o'clock at night. I am pretty stoned.
That's a good day. That's a good one.
Yeah, I'm working the county fair. Yay.
Well, you walked in and you said, "Give me the new riff."
Give me
She did too.
Give me the hard stuff.
I don't drink light stuff.
Scott, what's the proof on your new riff single barrel?
What's that one? Well, that's not too bad.
56.15.
Okay.
So, 112.3. Sorry.
So I got two different barrels from two different stores at two different times of the year, and both of them are 111.5, which I found interesting.
We're not there yet, David. I think we still have another hour, but
Almost.
cheers.
David, appreciate you.
Yeah.
Super chat from David.
And this one was somewhere it says, distilled spring of 15 and bottled spring of 19.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it really
really impressive.
We're right there with you. We were distilled on 4/3/15, barreled on 4/12/19.
Yeah, they're doing a really, really good job. They're again one of those companies that took that MGP transition to their own stuff and really kind of continue to just kind of hit it out of the park.
I love it. And I didn't have their old stuff, so I don't know what their old stuff tasted like.
The OKI, that was just all the old MGP that everybody raved about. And it is really so. I mean, it's good stuff. But
yeah, I noticed this one did say distilled, aged, and bottled by New Riff Distilling, Newport, Kentucky.
Yep.
I don't know how long ago it was that they started bottling their own.
Another super chat from Corey Mothy. And I'll match that. 9/11 thoughts and prayers.
Ah,
Cheers.
Yeah.
cheers.
To all those.
yeah, that was a shit time. That's for sure.
It's an understatement.
Yeah,
Wisconsin is Eastern time, right?
we're central.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
Are you
Chicago.
you're Eastern, aren't you, Kyle?
Central.
Chicago Central. So yeah.
No, Chicago's. Oh yeah, Chicago Central. Yeah.
What are you though, Kyle?
We're central.
We're central.
We're an hour from the time zone change. So winters suck here, and we get dark at 4 p.m.
Oh yeah, it is shitty.
I really wish we were on Eastern time. I really do.
What I really wish is they would just leave it alone. Like leave it the way it is.
Arizona got smart. Like we don't.
They don't
know
have time
what
change.
I remember when we moved to California and when I was a kid, and my mom's like, "Well, we got to change our clocks." I'm like, "Why?" I'm like, "This is stupid." I'm
What
like,
do you mean
"We
have to change them? It's a clock.
It's
That's
a clock."
Wasn't the whole deal for like time change for like farming and all that kind of stuff or something?
It was. The idea was that it would give people an extra hour of sunlight somehow, and I don't know how. But
Which I don't understand because farmers usually get up when
with
it's
the
light
sun
and they go stop
when
working when it's dark.
So I don't understand this, but Arizona, Hawaii, parts of Indiana, and I think Alaska don't change their clocks, but I know Hawaii, Arizona, and parts of Indiana.
Alaska, they just decided to like not change it. They're like, we're fucked anyway.
Right. In the winter, it's light for 3 hours. In the summer, it's dark for 3 hours. Like nothing's going to change.
Like, Arizona gets a lot of sun too. I mean, we don't need another hour of sun. Well, I say we're not there anymore, but
I could use another hour at night, so I don't go home at 4:30 in the afternoon and it's dark already.
That's what makes it really hard in the winter for all of us out here, kind of in the Midwest, or even for you guys, you deal with the same thing. It's depressing. You come home, you like leave in the morning, it's dark. You come home at dark, it's dark. It's dark always, you know.
Well, no, here even in the winter, it still gets light at like 6 a.m.
Yeah.
So our sun is
thank God for that.
No, Oregon
sarcasm.
is solar powered. Our sun literally gets up at the crack of dawn, and our daughter doesn't go to bed until midnight.
So we got another super chat from Jim Tysak. He said GBA.
Don't know what that means, but I'll cheers it.
Ideas?
Hey, please explain. The blonde, well, the roots are blonde. Doesn't understand.
I don't know what it is either. GBA.
I'm not blonde.
Cheers, God bless America, I'm guessing.
Oh.
I don't know
exactly what it is.
I'm just guessing that's what it is, probably, but.
Well, everyone in the chat was talking about 9/11, so I bet you it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm glad that someone could figure that out because I didn't get it.
God bless America.
Lauren would sing it for you.
Land that I love.
Okay, that's enough. Lauren sings it better.
Stand beside her.
Is this one of those measurements of when he's drunk or what?
No, he doesn't sing ever. So this is just a treat.
Kyle,
you can tell when Kyle's drunk because Kyle will start doing this one. He'll hold his finger here and he'll do this number to see if his finger and his head can match each other.
No, so the real trick is you start moving your head like this, and if your vision, like say my hand is my vision, if when you move your head, your vision does this, you know you're drunk.
Yeah.
Well,
this is what I put up with.
Scott, you probably heard some good explanations, I'm sure, in your time, probably.
That's been a while since I've had to listen to those. But, yeah.
So, like, here we go again.
Damn, DH Sylph.
Thank you.
I hadn't seen DH Sylph tuning in, so howdy.
Yep. He's been in here since I've been in here.
I meant to click on it, and I got Richie. Richie Z's in the house.
All right, guys, I got to go.
All right.
All
Yeah,
right.
I got my
All
time
right.
too,
Have a
probably.
good night. We'll see everybody. Cheers.
Yes, sir. Cheers to you,
Got
buddy. Thanks for coming
Kyle.
in.
People are in our
Cheers,
chat.
everybody.
31 still.
Yeah, we have late night people. They run on my daughter's time. I still have to go count 400 packages of nail polish, so I'm not happy about it. I'm gonna keep drinking instead. Shh.
What time do you have to open tomorrow?
I don't know.
Cool. Then you can count them tomorrow
9:45,
morning.
I think. No, because I got to resort them.
ADHD said he'll start $3.99.
Now I'm confused.
You said you have to count 400.
Hey, everyone, buy a set, and then I don't have to count them anymore.
What'd you just pour?
What are you drinking, Scott?
Water is a rinser.
Good call.
Rinse it out.
I have not had enough water today, and that's okay. No, I don't want that. I'll drink water later.
I mean, bourbon is like half water, so I don't know what
50%, we're doing
I don't know what
good.
more you want.
Well, this is a little less than 50%. This
I'm gonna have to
one
go.
is
I'm gonna have to go too. So,
all good.
hey guys, good times.
Yes, sir. Everyone in the
Sorry,
chat,
I missed-
appreciate you guys coming in,
Yep.
Sorry, I missed the round
tuning
table.
in.
All right. Later.
We'll see
Good
you,
night.
Scott.
Night.
So it's just us in the chat.
It's us and the blinders. And I am really red.
You don't look like here. It's the camera.
Thank God for some things.
You look pretty in real life.
Yay. Kyle's drunk.
I'm not.
Anywho, so I don't got anything.
Through the night with the light
No,
from
no,
above.
no. See, you start singing and everyone says goodnight. Good night, David.
We'll see you guys.
I think it's time to call it a night.
Appreciate y'all coming in. Have a good night.
Voice like an angel.